Hi everyone. I cannot believe that you lot have actually come with questions, which is brilliant. Most of that is just listen to what I've got to say and don't ask many questions, but this is really good. So I'm actually going to go for, I'm going to try and do this as a half-hour one tonight. So I'll give you a quick update, not that you really need it. So as it stands at the moment, 111,870, which is, but we still got, you know, it's saying 5 days to go, but technically it's 6. In fact, if you think about it, it's, well, yeah, 6 days. And there's a big YouTuber, I think Peter should have his video out soon, because he was asking me for the images again. So hopefully a couple of days that come out, and that's going to be a big hit. And we also sent a lot of emails today. Yeah, I got to thank Jan from AmiKit. He did a mail shot to all of his AmiKit people, so that was great. And I did a mail shot to all my customers and the original people who linked, followed. But we're kind of scared off probably a little bit by the high price. No, I don't think it's high price, but it's, you know, it is what it is. We've got 5-6 days left to go. You know, we'll see what happens on the day. You know, people keep asking me about, if you don't make it, you're going to relaunch it, or you're going to make it anyway. Now, let's be clear. If the Kickstarter fails, the project dies. Okay? That's where it is, because I've put a year's worth of work into it, a lot of money, and if it's going to die, I'm going to do something else. But it is starting to move again, so I'm hoping, and I know my last 2 Kickstarters, they kind of do that at the end. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, if you want this thing to appear, tell everyone, back it, all the usual. Right, let me go for some questions, and then I'll see if there's something else I can come back to, because there's quite a few here, which I'm really pleased about. Hi Steve, I use a Commodore 128 and a 1084S, and I have a space problem too. Do you think it's possible to make a Visa mounting like L-shaped metal bracket to the stand? No. The reason for that is that because I have considered this, and theoretically I could make one, but you've got their pods at the back. So if you put a mounted frame, you've got to pull it a long way from the wall so you can get all the things in the back. So I don't think it actually makes any sense for this. The whole point is to make it, it's a certain look, and the pods probably negate having that in the back. Having said that, you know, there are mount holes. I mean, they're not in Visa standard positioning, but an adapter could be made. But you're going to block all your pods. So I think that's a no. We've all got a space problem, but, you know, I just make room. Jeremy, number 1 leader, maybe something like this might work. I think it's possible sits on a tray and a tether. Yeah, I mean, look, you can be clever with it, by all means. Right, let's talk about the stand. Right, so look, let's be. What you have to remember is I'm making this for me as well as you lot. Now, if it fails, if it succeeds, the way I'll work this is, as far as the stand's concerned, because I want that, even though there's just the solid stand, I actually really like it. So I'm not promising nothing because it is a stretch goal. But I'll just be happy if it succeeds. I'll be honest. And you'll probably find you'll get the solid stand anyway. This is not an official yes, but as long as I've got enough budget that I can make the solid stand, then I probably will, because I think it just finishes the look off. You can still leave it off. You don't have to have it. Rotating stand, no, it's too much money. There's many bits involved. But probably going to, I want to please myself as well as you guys. So, and I probably will do that stand. That's the solid one. Okay, it just bolts. So it doesn't rotate, but it does give the look, which I think is quite important. So that's probably answered Jeremy's point. As I said, look, I want the stand, in an ideal world, because it's about $6,000 to do the tooling. So, but I'd still like it. I'll probably end up just taking a hit so we get that stand. I'll work on a basis. I'll sell more after. Maybe something like a Checkmate 1500 garage stand could help. Yeah, actually thought of that. You can get a separate garage type stand. Yep, already thought of that. In fact, the monitor stand was designed specifically to go with this monitor, so you could put your Ataris and your Amigas underneath it. It will take others as well, but it is specifically designed so that you can put them underneath that and look nice. The trouble is, Jeremy, as soon as you mount it on something other than the garage, it will stop looking retro and look ungainly and weird. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Perhaps the riser like the garage best option. I think Steve has an image on a 128 with the monitor and again. Yeah, there's lots of stuff like that. If not, I'm happy to pop one up there. But it looks great on there's lots of images of the monitor on top of the 128 and it looks brilliant. So yes, it is a D, but theoretically, should the standard one, the tray should go over it. I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes over it because it's about the same size as them. Right. It does make it look better. Right. So what news is there? Well, Alfie's much better. I had to. Sorry about last week's one. I had to cut it. Appy's here. If you're Appy and you know it, Appy's arrived. Yeah, he's feeling quite pleased. And I'm quite pleased with him as well because we got the Atari working. We had a problem with the RGB SCART, and that's now working. So, okay, let me answer. All right, let's discuss price. Now, if you'd actually look through the Kickstarter, you'll see there's a video at the bottom, and I actually lay out the spreadsheet. I mean, literally. And if you look at that, it's no bloody way this thing can be made cheaper. Unless I give it away, right? That's the reality. This is not an expensive monitor. Can you afford it? Don't know. Can I afford it? It's quite a lot of money. I understand. I get it. I totally do. There's nothing like it, and there's nothing coming that's going to be like it. So it is, and it costs what it costs to make it as good as that. So I can't do anything about that, and I'm not making some cheap crap. It's either a good monitor or it's not. But the panel itself is they're not expensive. They're what they're meant to be. Yeah, what you're paying for is literally this £200 of that is the chassis. If I was LG or if I was Samsung, the chassis would be like 30 quid or something, 40 quid. Make 20,000 of them. But this is not. This is a very expensive chassis, plastic. Everything about it is not cheap. So it is what it is. It's like the cases. You're paying. My cases are not cheap. You're paying for quality and style, and that's small volume. That's what That's what you're really paying for. Bloody low volume. Here goes the camera. Don't worry, it's coming back. I don't need to clarify the price because it's on about 3 videos. It's on a spreadsheet. If you look at the new intro video, I mean, it's $249 for the chassis and $149, which is about £120. In total, it's $369 with an IPS panel. It's $369. Simple. Yes, plus VAT. And people have mentioned that. Well, I ship half of the stuff I ship is around the world, so only half. In fact, only the UK is going to pay the VAT, right? And in your own country, you'll have to pay it. But I can't do anything about that. So, I assume the black exactly the same. Came from a basic cost with recommended panel is. I've said that. In fact, because I get asked these questions all the time. Go down to here. There you go. It's there. It's in the. I even put it in the thumbnail. You can't miss it, and the black costs the same. Yeah, I mean it's on the Kickstarter. It's just there. I mean, to be fair, this video only went up about 2-3 days ago, but it was further down. It was listed for all the prices were listed further down. But people don't. They just read the top line and the video, go, oh, I don't want it, or it's what. You know, it gets a bit frustrating whenever you go on the groups and I put the link on there and say, well, can you give us the specifications? Well, if you click on the link, it'll take you to everything. But yeah, there's prices. It is what it is. It's not expensive. If you watch that video, right, watch the video, then what you'll see is it goes through, like, if you want to buy a normal 4-3 panel, they're about 200 quid, 300 quid. If you want to buy an industrial one, which is as strong as this without the looks, it's the same price more or less as that. That's about 40 quid more than an industrial unit with a one composite input and no speakers. So, you know, people just don't want to spend any money, and I understand that totally. I truly do. I really understand that, but you know, it is what it is. We put a ton of work in it. All the work that's gone into it has just been written off. But you know, right. What else is talk about? I don't really know. I mean, it's not. I mean, look, I'm hoping that the video from it's come from Peter, was Nostalgia Nerd. I went to see him. Hope that's going to come out in a day or two. And as you know, he's got like 500,000 subscribers. So I'm hoping. Do you give a poor man's discount? No. Absolutely not. Look, you probably got more money than I have, right? Let's be blunt about this. You probably have got more money than I have, and so you probably don't need the discount. Yeah, it's if I could sell it for 200 quid, I'd sell it for 200 quid. But the panel, just the panel, is $150. Right, can the VGA input take anything other than VGA signals? So, if you buy the GBS pod, we use the VGA input and we put RGB SCART through it, component through it, CGA, EGA, and all that goes through it. Or you can plug it in the back and use it as a VGA input. Yeah, you can ask Appy a question if you want, because he's just hoping to get it, but he'll probably stick his foot in it. But you know, right? Come on, any more questions? Because I don't think it's much more I can say because it's all in the Kickstarter. I'll tell you what I will do. What I'm going to do is I am going to put this video on. Actually, no, I can't really. There could be a market for the case itself for hobbyists. Sure, just buy the chassis and don't buy panel. There you go. That's another reason for doing it that way. So assuming this goes ahead, which pods are you committed to doing? Well, everyone knows the GBS pod, the Mr. Pod, and we've got a whole load of stuff lined up we want to make for it. And don't tell them, Appy. There's a load of things we want to do. I mean, it's not the end. You know what I'm like? Have you seen my cases? You know, I kind of cover all eventualities. I did 2 different FPGA boards and a Mr. Kit. We got lots of stuff. I mean, even to the point that Edu, if it's a success, he's interested in potentially, well, basically, all he's got to do, put that in it. It's just, you know, that'll just go in it. I think it's going to need a tweak. The board will need a tweak and what have you to put all the ports around the back, except the internal ones. But yeah, you could have one of these, right? I mean, they're really cool. Or you can fit a D10 Nano, or you can fit a Raspberry Pi. I mean, there's so many things, you know. There you go. So they're all ready to go. It's just we need to just get it off the ground. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Yeah, that's a CM4. Fully integrated pod that does VT100. Yeah, I've been asked about this a lot. Yeah. No, look, that comment Appy's put is absolutely right. I'll give you any input you want. He has no idea what I'm going to get him to be doing yet. Right? He thinks he's got everything sorted out. He hasn't. But one of the good ones, the VT100. A lot of people have asked about VT100. I don't see a problem. I mean, just between us. I mean, I've been talking to Appy about, and he already knows this, and he said, I told you we could do that, but I'd like to make it so it's a green screen. You can have have a setting that just switches it into green, possibly an amber screen like my my Toshiba, just to give the effect. Not, just because I think it'd look quite nice if you could switch it and it just switched to amber or it switched to green. I think that look fantastic. So, I mean, there's lots of things we want to do, and having a for example, the SGI input, so you can plug an SGI into it, or you can plug a Next into it. All that stuff will come. It'd just be another pod. And so there's lots of stuff I want to do, but none of it happens. I'll have a nice monitor. I've got 2. And I'm probably going to make another one. I'm still going to make another one. I might make, sort Appy out one. But we're still going to have one. And I'll just show them around and just wind people up with it. But no, there's a lot coming. Yeah, and a sun. I mean, I don't think there's a huge market, but I think, to be honest, a lot of people, I think some of them may all work. We just have one interface does them all. Can I have the monitor with a panel with VAT for about 500? Yes. Yeah, look, if you look on the screen, right here, £369, including a panel. That's in pounds. Euros is probably 389. Add 20%. It's about 480 euros, 470 euros. Yes, there you go. By the time it gets to you, 500 euros. Yeah, fine. Yeah, I mean, look, just the figures are there. I get fed up telling people the figures are right there. Again, I've got it everywhere. I got it with the figures everywhere. I mean, I know I hid the figures away. I know I totally hid the figure. Oh, Peter's here. Have you got a copy of that video showing in the bottom right anyway? Yes. Do you want it? Well, yes. It's a good question how I'm gonna get it to you. Everyone's saying like Peter, right? Peter's online, nostalgia nerd. He's doing a video. So I have got it. Yes. What I'll do is I think it's uploaded. I'll make it available for you straight after this stream, so you can have that straight after. Oh, Paul. Yes, Paul. Can you send? Well, you know what to do. Paul, can you send him the animation for me? Because you'll be able to do it right now. Peter. Yeah. If I don't need it immediately, but I couldn't find a Kickstarter video or the one on the channel. Yeah, just if you give your details to Paul Kitchen created the video. Okay. I assume you all have seen the new video I did. It's the 10 minutes, the short one. The one you're looking at on the screen. The one that's got the price in the thumbnail. Because people kept asking me. It answers a lot of questions. And obviously including the price. But you'll see, like, for example, the because of the adjustment in the exchange rate, I dropped the price. And I've been keeping the dollar rate. So if the dollar on the panels, you pay for what they cost, just conversion. The GBS, I dropped that by 20 quid. Kind of selling it just a little, bit above cost, to try and keep the costs down. People have said, well, you should have Scott originally, but the problem with that is we had to put a whole load of tech and different bits and pieces just to make it work. So that you couldn't. It's not on the standard boards. It was impossible, and not everyone would want it. So that's why it wasn't standard. Oh, okay. Yes. All right, Martin. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So there's a standard VGA in the back on the standard monitor, but if you get a GBS control, connects internally into the VGA. So if you've got anything in the GBS, it disables the external VGA. But if you haven't got anything plugged into GBS control, you can use the external VGA. But again, it's all in the Kickstarter. Everything you need to know is in the Kickstarter. Just scroll your way down, read. We've even had the whole thing rewritten because some people were getting confused, and I got Phil to rewrite the whole thing from scratch. And a lot of people would be saying actually it's much better. Where are we at the moment? Nope, still the same. Just waiting for that video. You can count me with 2. Good. Okay, get on there and sign up. Right, let's come back to this. Right, so any more questions? Because to be honest, I know I love a fairly simple standard board. Include basic cost should be stay fair and quality. Yeah, look, Peter. Well, I don't want to, but everyone who sees this likes it. Even this is a prototype. Because the great thing about the 3D printing tech that we use, it actually looks like injection molded. It's not. It's 3D printed. But it is so good. So people have got a really good feel for the quality you're going to get. And it's just going to be a lot better than what people have seen. So I think it's going to be a fantastic monitor. I mean, I really do. And I know we've got the Novotel. Oh, Appy, drop it about John. Don't worry about it. Jesus. Let's see 1084++. No. Can I hook up both ECS Indie and Vamp 2 HDMI to it, double HDMI? Yeah. So we got there's a VGA switcher board we're going to put in here. It's probably not very much in focus, but it's a little switcher board we're going to put in. We was going to make our own, but we wasn't so lucky. It's just to make your own. It's really, really complex. You just can't compete with this. So we're going to put one of these on the board, and it's got 5 inputs and 1 output. So yeah, lots of HDMI, and you'll see that in the list. In fact, I think I've got to change the price because I've got it at £19. It'll probably drop to tenner. Did you decide what colour the AD? No, that's a good question, Jeremy. I like the idea of red. I might do it as a poll. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I do know I want to get the brightness dropped by half at least. But yeah, the blue looks rubbish. It does look rubbish. Can it be backports and not dongle QL Womster? No, no. Okay, Raz. This internal, inside, in the monitor. Okay, but you'll just have 3 HDMIs sticking out the back, and there'll be 2 internal connections. So you can put, for example, a DE10 Nano and an S video card, that kind of thing. And then there's one that goes to the actual internal HDMI. After this, he'll do a sympathetically designed retro monitor for TRS-80 Model I. Yes, that would be very niche. Jeremy, on that question, is the HDMI doofus standard? If it's not standard, it's going to be peanuts. It depends on a lot of things. If everything goes to plan, I'll just throw it in. If things get a little bit tight, and like as you go along, it might be an extra tenner. At the moment, I've got it up for 19 quid, but that's going to change to probably a tenner. So it's just one of those things I'm going to hold off, not saying it's going to be included, because in case anything goes wrong with it, if I get some overheads I'm just not prepared for, I'm going to keep that in my bag. But it's going to be peanuts. It's not going to bother you. Yeah, the speakers are nice. It seems you missed my question. Oh, I apologise. I'm sorry. What was hang on, Carl. Let me have a look. How about speakers causing vibration in chassis? Right. No, it's a really heavy monitor, and they're literally mounted. They're actually mounted with a cushion against the side of the plastic, really solidly. They don't vibrate, and it's going to be really thick, strong. I was going to mount it to. Don't need to know the story. I went through a lot of research on this. And they're mounted, but they've got a foam going around it, so as it pushes up, you tighten them up, and they're kind of rubber, shock mounted kind of, so it won't go. You won't get none of that. They do sound lovely. I don't want to turn it on because my 3-year-old's in bed, and there's a video in the Kickstarter all about sound. Green or red? I have absolutely no idea what that means. Oh, sorry, red, gold, and green LEDs near flag or no. Inbuilt speakers, some 216. Recoloured monochrome text colours. We could go the Vectrex route with coloured overlay. No. So I like it. Bass should make vibrations, but cushion is good. Thanks, yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah, the bass on this is pretty good, but as soon as I turn my big speakers on down there, the whole house vibrates. So it ain't in that league. But trust me, they're got the balance of they weren't overly expensive, they weren't cheap, they're not peanuts, but they're not overly expensive, and they give a great balance, and they're really quite loud. So they are actually pretty good speakers, and I'm really pleased with them. And they were recommended actually by a guy who builds speakers and he uses them for certain jobs. And now they are actually pretty good. And if you haven't heard them, but go and watch there's a video on the sound. Again, it doesn't really help because I've got this thing, pointing at it. You can't really tell. Backed, hoping the picture will be better than the bank. Oh God, it's light years ahead. I've got a bank sitting here. Trust me, it's light years ahead. What language? No, you didn't. There's no language. Oh, but no, the quality of this panel is beautiful. Trust me, and I know we're even going to be offering the Arcuda. The only difference with that one, to be fair, is going to be it's the controller that's got a 1 millisecond response and a very low. So the response time on the Arcuda is going to be better, but I don't believe the display will be any better. I love this display. I think it's really nice. Nice company, mate. Monitor is down. Yeah. Did you decide where you were printing the 10? I haven't decided if I actually want that on there. I know it's. Because Paul did a render where he put it at the top, and to be honest, I don't know. I think it looks a bit tacky. I quite like the checkmate in the front. It's it's kind of subtle and white. I might leave it at that. Might be a sticker on the back of the monitor. I don't know. We'll see about that. Right. Any more questions? Does anyone else want to? I mean, look. What have we got in here? Any more questions? Refresh rate 75 Hz at Amiga super high res. You don't, right, okay. These monitors these panels do 50 and 60 hertz. Okay, the only reason you have those other refresh rates that you need them is because of the crap output from the Amigas. Normally, you don't need them because you just shove RGB scar straight in. It's stable. You don't need it. If you run super high res, if you put super high res at 15 kilohertz in this monitor, it's stable in interlace, bloody amazing. And that is just going in RGB scar. So you don't need all that. You don't worry about any of that rubbish. You know, it just looks great. So this will do. Now, if you're going to run 720p, you do understand that's widescreen. So you don't want that. This is not a widescreen monitor. It will do it, but it will just stretch it. Or you can select 16:9. It's a waste. Is as well HDMI out of the actual content? No, I get asked this a lot. I have been asked this a lot, and it is something I think me and Appy are probably going to talk about. It won't be a standard, no, not in a million years, but it might be something that we can work out. But we kind of had the whole HDMI thing. Is I like to take stuff off the shelf, yeah, and put it together in such a way that it creates something new, but really nicely put together. We've tried inventing the wheel, and it costs more, so much more. As for we'll possibly do a splitter. I don't know. I'm not making any promises, but it will be an extra, because I know, but a lot of people have asked that. And my opinion is, if you put, like, for example, a mister in it, you've got two outputs. You can have one going to the HDMI going in, and you can have the RGB VGA coming out. There you go. But I know some people say they want. It's going to be an extra. It's just not going to be standard. But that's something we need to look into. Someone says they've just pledged. Look at that. It's up to 112. Well done. Thank you very much, Paul. Hope it's well. Yeah, we got 5 days. But it's a big surge, isn't it? But you know, we'll see what happens. Thing is, when Neil's finished his video, he's bringing 500,000 subscribers. Neil, Peter, when Peter's bringing it on, you're asking MP to lobby for no customs agreement. Yeah, sorry about that. But on the subject of Europe, Michael, the distributor, we've been talking. I can't say anything at the moment, but we're going to try and work a way so that I ship to him, and he ships and charges the VAT internally. So I am going to try and do that. It might mean that the Europeans boxes get delayed a little bit, because we'll do a massive. I'll build a load, all of them in one hit, and then probably just load them in a lorry and drive them over, do all the paperwork, and then we can slap the labels on over there and ship them internally and do the VAT that way. So we're looking into doing that, because it is a pain in the butt. It truly is. Can we find a mister anywhere for selling? No, but apparently the pies are back, although I think they've all sold out. I want to record a sample, the 80 column CGA motor 128 on Ava Media. Okay. I want to, as soon as I saw, but then I wanted my C128 colour to work, so sense deep my board, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny the way me and Abby sort of kind of, because he's actually a customer for the case. So, are you doing a manual like you did for the cases? Because that was brilliant. Oh, okay, right. This falls under the category of, everyone's moaning about how expensive it is, and you want to. I am going to do a manual. There is going to be a manual, but they cost me a tenner each usually. I mean, look, these things cost me about £8, £9, £10. I mean, because I'm doing this batch is in colour. That's £10, right? Now, if you've got, putting that in, and I've not budgeted for it. Now it'll be PDFs. And it'll be a nice manual. There may be an option, say, look, I'm definitely not including that. just there's no budget. But unless we sell 3,000 or 4,000. But I will create it, and if you want to, there may be an option to buy the manual, because I do agree the manuals are lovely, especially when you get one like that, because they come in gloss. The actual manuals are all gloss. They are lovely. Yeah, look, it would only be to cover the cost. I know the people love the manuals, but what I'm thinking of doing is, so what I was thinking of doing was, because you'll notice with this version of the mini manual, it has the plus manual inside it as well. So I'm probably going to do a manual that's got both the cases and the monitor in one manual, and then it kind of sells the rest of the products. But then it's really nice. You get a nice thick bound manual, and it just looks nice, because there's a lot in there. Is there a plan B if the Kickstarter doesn't make it? The timing is unfortunate with very expensive winter ahead of us in Europe. I get it. Trust me, I get it. If Kickstarter fails, it dies. Right? Because I'm probably gonna end up converting all this business I'm running at the moment with the Amiga stuff, because I've been planning on this monitor for a long time. But if the monitor fails, then I'll probably wind that down a bit and just turn that back into a hobby and go and get another job. So monitor, you can forget the monitor, because I can't make it any cheaper. It can't. If someone come along, give me £1 million, it'd still be quite an expensive monitor. If I sell 5,000, you'd probably knock about 50 quid off of it. Yeah, which is the tooling cost per unit. If you sell more, it still costs money to make. So you're not going to save a lot of money. It's just what it is. And so that's life. To be honest, it's a bloody bargain. That's the frustrating thing at the moment. Okay. Tarasic says D10 Nano Mr. Core will ship 30th December, and yes, Raspberries will be made as well. Yeah. So you can always get the D10s. DigiKey have them on back order. Just go on and put it on back order. You might wait for 3 months and pay 250 quid, but you will get one. I remember one of the videos you mentioned the possibility to reduce the time the grey panel. Yes. Absolutely. It might be that actually I turn it off because it sucks. It does suck. But there's only so much I can push these people, because they've done an awful lot for me, and all I bought is a few boards, just a few samples, you know what I mean? And they've been very good. So, but when it comes to the actual, if it's a success in the actual order, then there's a whole load of changes I want. There's quite a few minor things like possibly make, because you can always press display and it'll pop up, and it is annoying seeing it. You don't need it. It's a pain in the butt. Thank you, Nav Cattell. I know you said I try. Yeah, I do try. But this one's very tricky, because it's if you want to know, if you're curious about, if you want to know why they're expensive, go to the Kickstarter, scroll all the way down, and there's a video. In fact, actually, if I switch back, I'm not going to show you it, but if I switch back to here and go to the bottom. Bom, 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 bom. Right, watch that video. Okay, if you watch this video, it shows you my spreadsheet, all the figures, how it's all worked out, and you can see that I've got it 24%. I think it might be 24.9% margin for making them, but that includes my time to build them, the cost of the office. It's all in there, and I mean, people don't normally do it, but I thought, screw it, I don't care. It's just so people can see what they cost, but no, people don't understand that it's very expensive. $50,000 for the tooling. It's a lot of money, and it has to be covered in under 1,000 units. Right. Right, any more questions? Let's have a look. Even if everything fails, I'll still stand by and work with his good. Oh, you're so sweet. His business respect the customers, he does the best. Yes, you're damn right, sometimes I do too much. I love you too, Happy, mate. You have no idea how much I do. Is the power supply internal or external? It's external. There's a lot of reasons for it. But it is an external power pack. It's a quite big chunky one, but it is external. Just like Samsung monitors and a lot of the others, it is external. Which plug is on the power supply primary side? Good question. Come back to you. I'll come back to you on that one. Or Happy. Well, Happy's got an idea. I'm not quite sure what you mean on that question actually. The switch is there's a power switch on the front which will power it on. So you plug it in the back, power it from the front, and all the internal switching happens, which we've still got to sort exactly how we're doing that. Price thing was said about all the cases. When you get it, you can see where the money went. Then you stop thinking it's expensive. Yeah, I know. It just is what it is. And what bugs me is people have no problem spending like $800 or pounds on a, you know, like a 120 hertz game, 144 hertz gaming monitor. They wouldn't have a problem spending that for their rigs. But £400-500 for us really unique monitor. That's the thing. It's bloody unique. You ain't ever going to see this. I don't believe you're ever going to see one of these again, because it's not, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for anyone to make it. This Kickstarter needs to be increased by another 30 days. Yeah, probably, but it's not gonna. It ends this Sunday night. The irony is that some people will get money for Christmas, yeah. Well, this is one of the reasons why I did that £100 deposit. If you look at the rewards, the top reward is a £100 deposit. So all you do is you put down your £100. That secures you a monitor and puts some money to the funds. In fact, if everyone did that, it'd be great. But don't do that, because then we would never reach it. But if everyone did it, it'd be actually really good. But that allows you to put down a small amount and then pay the balance next year, like middle of next year, when you can afford it. Well, then the people will be complaining because they got the holiday to pay for. Many people will be disappointed if this project fails. Yes, 300 and... Let me see how many it is. 383 people so far have backed this. And it's about 430 monitors, 450 monitors. So yeah, I think a lot of people will be disappointed, but there's nothing I can do about it. But I do understand. I mean, look, one of the problems was we spent so long experimenting what we can do, what we can't do, and all the kind of to try and get it done, like you saw with Appy's wonderful work with the EGA. And now we've got the Atari. And it's funny, I tried 3 Atari STs on RGB SCART down my local club. They all worked fine, but mine didn't. But we've now got that nailed. So where the cable should arrive tomorrow, I'll do a little video on that. But that's working really nicely. So, you know, but there's a lot of stuff we've been doing, all this work and working just to get it to us. But in the end, I'd say, no, we have to launch it. Could I have waited till next month? Everyone would complain it's the new year, I ain't got any money because after Christmas. Can't win. I've learnt this. It's just the way it is. Pajama, like that. So where are we with our CUDA as an option? They've said they're going to do one, right? Because what gets me, I've been talking to Arcuda for like 6 or 7 months. And each time they said they haven't got any panels, but basically the secret of theirs is the controller. They've got a really good controller. It's going to replace my controller. Right, so it's a very, very good controller. And then they just pick a really good panel, good IPS panel. That's a very, very fast refresh. Yeah, and so they pick that and they build a corner. We're going to pick a 19-inch panel. We're going to find a really nice panel. But it's going to be probably quite expensive. I don't know how much, but you can look at their old prices. It'll be the same price as their 20s. Don't think because it's 19 it's cheaper, because you'll find the 19s, the 17s, the 15s are all the same bloody price. It makes no difference, right? But it's going to be an option for people, a more expensive option, but it gives you that 1 millisecond, which apparently is quite important. I would have thought a 60th of a second latency is enough, but you know, there you go. Does the Atari also work in mono? Oh yeah. Oh come on. Let me switch back to here. Of course it does. It's in the video. Where's that video? It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's on one of the videos. Do you know? I can't remember which one it is. It might be that one. It's a good question, but yes, it looks wonderful. Oh no, I know why. I know why. Hold on a second, because I did a separate video about it. I didn't put it in the Kickstarter. So bear with me and I'll show you, because I know it's important. And I got to be honest, I really like it. Right. Let me just switch back. Here you go. What about if I put that up? I don't think you're going to be able to hear it, but can you see? It's working great. The only thing is because it is a 640 by 200 and it's going on a VGA screen, so you've got that bar at the bottom. Now you can move it up and down, okay, and you could stretch it, but apparently there's a way, someone was saying you can fill it, there's something you can do, maybe a board, and it fills the whole screen, but it looks fantastic, it really does. But that worked out of the box, so that was fine. So I'm well pleased with that, and I'm going to do another video on it because I want to show, because that was a really nice setup showing that. And I got, it was an excuse to get me synth out, which I'm rubbish. But watch this video though. It's quite a good video. Atari demo and help one. This is the one where I mentioned about the RGB SCART not working, and the community, the Atari community, came back, and they came back with a load of suggestions. Now the truth is, actually, none of the suggestions were what we needed to know, but it inspired Appy to solve the problem. We figured out, in fact the funny thing was, he got it almost perfect, and it was like, he won't mind me saying this, and it was doing this kind of little bit of glitching still, and when he put his scope in, it went away, and it was to do the capacitance in the lead, right? Nailed it. So we had to put a little cap on it. He could write on there what it was, but he had to put a little cap on it across a line, and it stabilised it perfectly. So that was hilarious, that was. But that's gone in the mod. In fact, at the moment we've got kind of two boards. So this board here, right, is just the standard board without all the extra bits. So just for testing. So I'm going to do a video tomorrow, show that, and then we've got to merge the whole thing into a completely new version. Because even if this does fail, I still want to have a good system. Bugger you lot, I still want it. So we're still going to have it. It's cost me a lot of money to get this far, so I might as well get it right. And Appy likes doing it. But you know, if it doesn't work, I think me and him are going to be doing some other things as well, because we've had such a laugh working together. And it's really nice to have an engineer that you can just work with. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that's the video. Hopefully that answered that question. Let's come back to here. I look miserable in that, don't I? I Stereos, love you, spawn piece. Thanks. Does it? Yeah, the Atari works great. I mean, I look, everyone knows I'm an Amiga guy. Everybody knows that. But I'm a nerd. I just love old computers. And the Atari's a funny one because it's like I'm a Luton supporter. And one of the guys I used to work for was a Watford supporter. Now, you know what that means, right? But it didn't mean anything other than it was a laugh, right? The banter. We've still, got respect for each other's teams. I'm not one of those losers. So I think that's a fantastic Atari because I came that close to buying one. Because the Mac was stupidly expensive, and it was to me it was as good as a Mac, right? It had the same limitations as a Mac. Let's be true, but it looked fantastic, and that high resolution mode was amazing. And the build quality is stunning. Absolutely, I love the build quality. So to actually have one now, it's great fun, and of course I like synthesizers, so I get to play with it. But so it was really important that I got it working perfectly. So I had it on. Composite looks wonderful. The VGA looks wonderful. I've even had it on RF, which looks pretty good. But I really wanted that SCART to work. But now I've got that SCART working. Appy got the SCART working, and it just looks amazing. So yeah, that's pin sharp. That is absolutely fantastic. Can they do backlight strobing as well to give motion more? No, no. No, but look, the GPS controller's got your silly scan lines. I don't like it. I don't understand why you. Look, I spent 10 years getting rid of my CRTs because they sucked. Right? I'm not a gamer. Right? I understand why people like them. I truly do, but they ruin my eyes. So I don't have that same thing. Panels for a long time were rubbish. Now they're not. To me, they're much better. Now that Arcuda's amazing. So I don't really care about CRTs, but I will say that if you're running a low resolution game on it or a demo, they do look brilliant. They do look fantastic. I get that, right? And that's why I've got 5, 6. I've got loads, but I never use them. I use panels. No, well, okay, look, Alicia. Look, I know. I know. It's a second-class clone of an original Amiga. Look, let's be honest. It's not. It's just a clone of the Atari. It's nothing like the Amiga. It's different ballpark. So, but it had its niche and it did really well, and and it had certain benefits. I wish we had an Amiga, truly, but the best ST is a vampire. I'm guessing you lot are Amiga fans. By adding Scopely, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it caused fully stable output. Remove the lead and it flickered. Yeah, it was hilarious. I can use Steinberg Cubase. Yeah, absolutely right. It looks brilliant. So watch that video. In fact, I'm going to drop the link in there. Look, just go and look at my channel. You should know where all this is. But what I'm going to do is. That is the Atari video. Just go and watch it, and it's a lot of stuff on it. It shows you the display, the SCART going nuts. But we've cured that. Right now, Fleef. That is a good question. I am considering because now bloody expensive. This is the only problem. But I am considering having some because they're fantastic quality. Giving people the option if they really, really want one, and they will be so unique, to have 3D printed ones. They won't be able to do many of them, and they will be expensive. But they're it might be an option. Yeah, Falcon. Phew, amazing machine. What's the highest resolution panel you are planning to offer? So, okay, the standard panels are 1280 by 1024. However, as I've always said, I'm going to be looking for better ones. Now, I've been looking for 1600 by 1200s for ages, but you just can't get them. It's very easy for people to say, just go and get them. You can't. They don't exist because they don't exist. But here's another little one. You lot can go and have a play, right? I'm going to give you a link, and you go and look at this site. Okay, let me put this in here. No, that needs to shut up. So if you go and look at that, oh, did I actually put it in there? Yeah, go and look on there, right? In fact, what I'll do is I'll dump that into here. Right, you'll like this. Right, this is what we're up against. So here's the site. It's called panel.com, and basically most of the supplies, they go through here. So any panels, you can see production and so on. What you need to do is go up to here to the advanced search. Okay, and then what you look for is your panel type. Now I always go IPS, so you select your panel family, and then you want to choose your size. So let's say 90. Let's go. Well, let's go 17. Let's go 17. Right, greater than or equal to 17, and less than or equal to 19. And you can do this, and it will drive you insane. Now you've got your resolution. No, that's not the resolution. So let me do a search on that. Okay, you can do this as much as you like. You'll have a whale of a time on it. Now you look at that and you go, oh, it's loads, but there's none in production. And if you click on here, there's a link here that says in production. So you look on the in production, and you go, okay, right, well, they got stocks. 19, 20. Now see, these are all widescreen. They're no bloody good. So you have to have my form factor. Where's my 17-inch? Do you know, you can tell I haven't done this for a few weeks. Composition, brand, resolution. Here we go. Right, so what we want is oh Jesus. What we want is 1280. I'll do 12. Well, all right, let's go 1600 by 1200. Because there's no point looking at wide screens. 1600 by 1200. There we go. Search. Oh dear. There isn't any. None. There's no panels out there. This is why when people keep telling me, go and get 60. No. You go and get them. Because they're really hard to get. So then the 1280s by 1024, because they're used industrially, so you've got a much better chance. But even with that, now I've done it at 17-inch. Now the other thing to bear in mind is the view angle. You've got to make sure your view angle is 89, 89, 89, 89, right? That's very important. So you've got a whole load in here, right? And you can see that mostly 300 or 250 nits. They've got some here that are a bit brighter than that. But the key thing is stocks. See the numbers down the right. You have to make sure they've got stock. They have to be LVDS. And then you're really down to, is it any good? So it's a pain. And then you think, oh, well, that's good, I'll order one. Well, you order one, and then you have to, it's like $150, $100 shipping to test a panel to see if it's any good, and it turns out it's crap. So it's an absolute nightmare doing this. But as you can see, there are quite a few in there. There's an LG 17s and 19s. But you've got to make sure that view angles are good. But that's the joy of it. So 1280, 1024 you can get. Now, let's have some fun. Panel type. OLED. Search. Oh dear. Yeah, because I keep it. Everyone tells me. Well, someone asked me the other day and said, how do you fancy making 5.25-inch disk drives? There's a great market out there for you. And I said, well, point me to the supplier of the mechanisms. And then he pointed me to a video of a bloke who managed to get a couple of old broken ones and fixed them. It's not as easy as people sometimes think. Right, what we got? Let's go back to here. Has this changed? No, it's gone up again. Look, it's been ticking up quite a lot today because we sent out a lot of emails. But it is ticking up. So, let me have a quick look at questions. What other questions we got? Oh, okay. prototypes. Mile something ask. Freeman. What's highest? Done that. You're not going for a tie. What's it both for uni? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Marco. Look, I it's the same as the football, right? I'm a Luton fan. My ex-boss's brother was a Watford fan. If you know anything about football, they're bitter rivals. But it should just be a bit of fun. But some people are stupid, right? I just treat them. I've got an Atari ST. No, I'm surprised they did. It was the excuse was monitors, because I always wanted to try one. Not for games. I wanted to see what, like, the music programs, that kind of thing. So now I've got one. And I've got my Toshiba because I wanted a 286. Right, so all these are a bit of an excuse. Now, if it fails, you'll probably find I'm going to have a cull of a lot of kit and sell it all off. So I'm going to cull some because I don't need all this. But I will keep my favourites. Fusion Mac fastest, even if you made some of your controller module boards available, people might want them for DIY projects. Yeah, maybe. Everyone wants more for nothing, so yeah, I know. Atari. Oh. Happy. No, I'm not letting that through. If that was actually you. Atari gets some prototype chips for a loan of fun. Nothing. And Atari recognises it's not working properly. I don't really ask me can start. Yeah, right, so Martin, the controller board that we've got, which is this little one, in fact I've actually got a backup source of a different, just in case. This board here, well, you can't really see it. It's actually got a really nice, it's not a bad chip on it, and it does a fantastic job with, even if you're going composite or if you're going component or RGB, it looks fantastic, and it stabilizes it, I'm actually getting them to do some scaling, like double scaling, not because they have a mode in it's called point to point, and it's literally, if you are on a 1280 1024, you've got 720 pixels by 5, whatever it is. So we're going to be doing things like literally double it, not smooth scale, double it. And so maybe a quadruple one. So if you put 320 by 256 or 200, then it'll quadruple it. Yeah. So integer scale, right, rather than smoothing it, because smoothing can kill it. Yeah, it's true, Jeremy. Right, look, guys. Unless there's any more questions, I'm going to call it a day, because I need to spend a little bit of time. Well, we spend most of the time. I'm home all the time, but I need to go and sit with my wife for a little while. So, any more questions before I go? I think there's plenty in here for people to look at. I would like to back him on it, but I'm in the process of selling my parents. Where am I just? Yes, of course. Yeah, someone can they back it and change the address? Of course you can. Right, so hopefully that's answered as many questions as possible. Look, we're 112,657. We've got like another 95 to 6 to go. Still a long way to go. But they always do that. Always at the end. On the last two, I was in the same position on the last two. Kind of shoots up, flat lines, shoots up. But just all you got to do is go on your groups, tell people about it, and any dancing upon success. But maybe I might. Well, I suppose I might be able to talk the wife into get her in. Don't know about the lifting though. I think I'll go for the ceiling. Yeah, thank you, Happy. Right, okay, guys. Look, thanks very much for dropping along. I might do another one of these later in the week. but I'll probably also do one Sunday night. So regardless. Oh, okay, yeah. Peter, I'm here, so we can have a chat. I'll text as soon as I shut down. I'll text you, but we'll go through that. All right. Look, thanks so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope I answered your questions. Thanks for backing. If you have, if you haven't, and you can't afford it, I'm sorry. I really am. And if it is a success, hopefully maybe you can get it later on. And I do understand, because I'd be in the same boat. All right, because I know this is not cheap. But I like making products that people just love. I don't like making things for cheap. I like it, and this stuff is not cheap to make. All right, thanks so much, guys. And I'll speak to you in a minute, Peter. But see you later, guys. Thanks a lot. And we're ending now.